Yo, 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 yo. What up, though? This is your boy CB coming at y'all again with another video. So, today we're going to be doing something a little different for week 2 of March to Glory. So, this week we're going to be talking about a movie, but it's going to be more of a movie comparison with the movie Race versus the real life events. So what I want to do for this video, I want to actually read the comparison, Jesse Owens' real life story versus, Hollywood fiction. And this right here pretty much breaks down everything, you know what I'm saying, with what was true and what was fiction. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Oh yeah, strap in because this video might be a little longer than usual. So yeah, get your popcorn, get your soda, go take a piss, do what you gotta do. Come back, relax, and listen to me yap for a while. Right? Let's get started. So, was Jesse Owens a successful college athlete? Yes, the true story behind the race movie reveals that in addition to setting or tying national records in the long jump and the 100 and 200-yard dashes at East Technical High School in Cleveland, Owens was also a standout in college at Ohio State University. There, he became known as the Buckeye Bullet while competing at the 1935 Big Ten Championships. He broke world records in the long jump, the 220-yard dash, the 220-yard low hurdles, and tied a previous record in the 100-yard dash. As a junior, he won all 42 events he competed in, including 4 in the NCAA championships, 4 at the Big Ten championships, and 3 at the Olympic trials. That's one hell of a freaking accomplishment. This guy, this guy was almost like superhuman, you know what I'm saying? But let's continue. Did Jesse Owens really pick cotton as a boy? Yes. Born in Oakville, Alabama on September 12, 1913, to a sharecropper father, Jesse Owens was picking 100 pounds of cotton a day. Jeez. By age 7, helping his family put food on the table. While fact checking the race movie, we learned that when Jesse was 9 years old, his family took part in the Great Migration, which saw 1.5 million African Americans bid farewell to the segregated South in search of more opportunities and a better life in the North. The Owens family headed to Ohio. Yo, see, back then, man, a lot of us now, complain about how hard life is and things of that nature. But back then, no, you had kids dropping out of school to get jobs. And they wasn't even in their double digits yet. You know what I'm saying? Getting jobs to help their families. While nowadays we sit here and go to safe spaces and cry because an hour of work is too much for us. You know what I'm saying? I hate to say that, but hey, it's true. But anyway, let's continue, shall we? How did James Cleveland Owens get the nickname Jesse? After James Cleveland Owens' family moved to Cleveland, Ohio when he was 9 years old, a new teacher gave him the nickname Jesse. His southern accent caused her to misinterpret him when he said JC, which was his family's nickname for him. So, yes, originally his family was calling him JC, but yeah, that that right there, yes, his accent was so heavy that yes, his teacher did misinterpret what he said. But moving on, did Coach Larry Snyder really allow black athletes to run for him? Yes, at a time when the majority of the country still didn't permit black athletes to participate in university sports, Ohio State's Larry Snyder, portrayed by Jason Sudeikis, damn, I don't know, butcher that shit. Sudeikis allowed black athletes to run for him. By comparison, Ohio State's football team didn't allow black athletes to participate. A locker room scene in the movie shows a football player telling Owens and the teammate Dave Alberton that they have to wait to shower until the football team is done. Snyder's decision not only helped black athletes like Owens find success, it also proved beneficial to his own career as well. It paved the way for more opportunities for Snyder, including coaching athletes who together won a total of 8 Olympic gold medals and set 14 world records. Snyder was eventually inducted into the USA Track and Field Hall of Fame, like in the film. Larry Snyder taught Owens how to block out the crowd and keep his focus on the race. Yeah, that is true. So I'm gonna say this right here, right? I mean, black athletes are naturally gifted. You know what I'm saying? So back then, it's like no matter how good we were, they just didn't want to see us win. You know what I'm saying? Fucked up, but it was crazy, man. But now it's like we're in the age of fuck around and find out. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I'm just yapping, man. Let's continue. Did Jesse Owens really cheat on Ruth Solomon? Ah, yes. Jesse cheated on Ruth, with whom he shared a daughter at the time. As in the Race movie, the two eventually reconciled and were married on July 5th, 1935. So, about that part there, right? Yeah, he messed up. You know what I'm saying? He made a bad decision by what he did. While he was away. Um, but he came back. You know what I'm saying? He stood, you know, face to face to her like a man, took accountability, took responsibility. Nowadays, you know what I'm saying? If you even look at another woman, your relationship is over. You know what I mean? Or vice versa. Whatever. Relationships don't last 2 minutes nowadays. But back then, it's like you had couples who are still married to this day from back then. I once knew a couple that was married for 70 years. That's crazy. But hey, moving on. Did the U.S. Olympic Committee want to pull out the 1936 games in Berlin? Yes. In the years prior to the 1936 Olympic Games in Berlin, the Nazi Party had threatened to ban ethnicities from participating in the Games, especially Jewish athletes. After a number of countries threatened to boycott the Games over Germany's anti Semitism, Hitler relented and agreed to let ethnicities participate. Yet, he did criticize the U.S. for including black athletes on its Olympic roster. When the Nazi regime got wind that the International Olympic Committee delegates were privately meeting to discuss whether to change their decision to hold the Games in Berlin, the regime promised that Jewish athletes would be permitted to compete on German Olympic teams. The U.S. Olympic Committee publicly accepted the invitation to go to the Games in September of 1934. Did the NAACP really request that Owens boycott the 1936 Olympics in Berlin? Yes. In researching the Race True story, we learned that Jesse Owens had pressure from both sides. The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, wanted him to boycott the games in order to send a message to the world regarding Adolf Hitler's policies towards people of color. Others felt that Owens emerging victorious at the games would send an even louder message, of course. The latter would only be true if Owens dominated. Fortunately, he did. Owens became the most successful athlete at the games, crushing Hitler's views on Aryan supremacy. So what happened was Jesse Owens humiliated Hitler's boys. You know what I'm saying? What happened is that Hitler had that thing about the Aryan supremacy, and Owens pretty much dusted everybody. You know what I'm saying? But moving on. Did the U.S. Olympic team really take a ship overseas to the games? Yes, fact checking the Jesse Owens race movie confirmed that they indeed took a ship. The year was 1936 and transatlantic flights were still uncommon. Commercial aviation would not see a surge until after World War II, fueled in part by the planes manufactured during the war. Crossing the Atlantic Ocean by ship was still the norm at that point, like in the race movie. All but the black athletes got first class cabins in the SS Manhattan. Man, it was. I mean, it was a terrible time, man. A very terrible time. But hey, we had each other, man, as black folks. You know what I'm saying? Did Owens really wear German-made track shoes to win gold in gold in Berlin? Yes. The Jesse Owens true story confirms that, like in the movie, he wore track shoes that were handmade by Adi Dassler, the founder of Adidas. Okay, okay. Yo, I didn't pay attention to that part, but okay. I see. I hear that. Um, did Jesse Owens really become friends with German athlete Luz Long? Yes, the race true story reveals that during Jesse Owens and Luz Long's intense long jump battle, a moment depicted in the movie, the two became friends. Long is indeed noted for giving Owens advice during the qualifying round. After fouling out his first two attempts, Owen was nearly out of the competition when Long advised him to jump from a few inches back to play it safe. The German government certainly didn't approve of their bond, as it contradicted the government's desire for Germany to disassociate from other races that they viewed were inferior or eradicate them altogether. It took a lot of courage for him to befriend me in front of Hitler, recalled Owens. You can melt down all the medals and cups I have, and they wouldn't be plating on a 24 karat friendship I felt for lose long at that moment. Long died fighting for the German army in World War II on July 14, 1943. Owens never saw him after that, after the Olympics. Damn. Rest in peace to him. Did the German crowd in the stadium really cheer for Jesse Owens? Yes. Whenever Jesse Owens appeared, the stadium erupted. There was absolute excitement, says David Clay Large, author of the Nazi Games. They were ready and willing to see a performance of absolute supremacy, and they loved that they began shouting his name, Jesse, Jesse, as he began his preparations to complete race movie. He was Jesse's featurette. See, a lot of the stuff in the movie is pretty accurate, but after all, at the end of the day, it's still a movie. So I'm sure there were some liberties taken. You know what I'm saying? Like when I said, because this was like my first time watching the movie, so I had to really pay attention to see what was Hollywood and what was, you know what I'm saying, fact. So I'm gonna watch it again, somewhere down the line, so I can, catch stuff that's true and then stuff that's false. Because I learned about Jesse Owens in school, man, but you're not gonna learn everything, so you have to pretty much do the research for yourself. Did Joseph Goebbels really persuade Avery Brundage to bench two Jewish athletes on the U.S. 4 times 100 meter relay team? 100-meter relay team. In the race movie, American Jewish runners Marty Glickman and Sam Stroller Stoller are benched after German Minister of Propaganda Joseph Goebbels, Barnaby, damn, Mishurat, and I'd apologize, I butchered that, threatens to expose his business deal with Olympic Committee members Avery Brundage. Jeremy Irons. Yep, Jeremy Irons was in this movie. In real life, Brundage's construction company didn't get the contract to build a new German embassy in Washington until 1938, long after the Olympic Games were over. It was never built due to the war. Mm. The two Jewish American runners, Glickman and Stoller, were replaced by the team's two fastest sprinters, Jesse Owens and Ralph Metcalf. A number of reasons were given for the switch. Marty Glickman believed that Avery Brundage and Coach Dean Cromwell were motivated by anti Semitism, like in the movie, while Sam Stoller didn't think anti Semitism was a factor in the least. Both men were deeply disappointed that they didn't get to participate. All right, so there was a scene in the movie where the team, you know what I'm saying, was coming into the building and they were walking past, the Nazi soldiers, and both of them flashed their little necklaces that they wear, you know what I'm saying, the Jewish necklaces and all that. They both flashed the Nazis. So that's how they found out, in the movie that they were Jewish. But moving on. How many medals did Jesse Owens win at the 1936 Berlin Olympic Games and in what events? The real Jesse Owens won 4 gold medals at the 1936 Berlin Olympic Games. He won gold in the 100-meter dash, the 200-meter dash, the long jump, and the 4 by 100-meter relay. He set 3 world records and tied another in under an hour by competing at the games. This was a very impressive dude, I tell you. All right, moving on. Which country won the most medals at the 1936 Olympic Games in Berlin? During our investigation into the Jesse Owens true story, we learned that Germany, the host country, won the most medals at the Games, accumulating a total of 89. The United States came in second, winning 56 medals. However, the fact that Jesse Owens was the most successful athlete at the Games was a glaring contradiction to Hitler's views regarding Aryan supremacy of the United States. 11 gold medals, 6 of them were won by black athletes. Did Hitler really storm out of the stadium after Owens won the 100-meter event? While fact checking race, we learned that Hitler reportedly did leave the stadium after the 100-meter event, which Owens won. Whether he stormed out whether he stormed out is debatable. Various press reports indicate that he congratulated Owens on the victory. We do know that Owens was never formally invited to meet Hitler. Owens stated himself that he wasn't invited to shake hands with the German dictator. All right. Was Jesse Owens really snubbed by Adolf Hitler? No, at least not according to various press outlets, which reported that Adolf Hitler gave Jesse Owens the Nazi salute when the two crossed paths. The race movie chose to depict Hitler giving Owens the cold shoulder, which many people believe is still debated. The movie's interpretation certainly makes for better drama. Owens himself has stated that it was actually President Franklin D. Roosevelt who slighted him. The U.S. president never acknowledged Owens' achievements. In Berlin, invited him to the White House, which such an invitation was common for Olympic champions. I wasn't invited to shake hands with Hitler, said Owens, but I wasn't invited to the White House to shake hands with the president either. His achievements weren't formally recognized until 1976, when President Gerald Ford awarded him with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. What happened to Jesse Owens following his success in Berlin? In researching the race true story, we learned that the following His we learned that following his success in the 1936 Berlin Olympics, the Amateur Athletic Union had arranged a post-Olympic tour of Europe for Owens to participate in. Owens found himself under financial strain while on the often unpredictable Olympic tour man, I can't talk today. And instead decided to return home to his wife to try his luck in Hollywood. He hoped to capitalize on his fame, much like Olympic swimmer Johnny Weissmuller did after medaling in the 1924 and 1928 Olympics. Unlike Weissmuller, who found fame starring in the Tarzan movies, Owen's skin color undoubtedly affected his job prospects in a country that was still separated by segregation. That was still separated by segregation. He only managed to find limited success on the vaudeville circuit. The vaudeville circuit. Damn. The vaudeville circuit. The decision to try to capitalize on his triumphs as an athlete put him at odds with the athletic union who stripped him of his amateur status. After I came home from the 1936 Olympic Games with my 4 medals, it became increasingly apparent that everyone who's going to slap me on the back wants to shake my hand or have me up in their suite, always commented, but nobody was going to offer me a job. With limited opportunities and a wife and 3 daughters to support, Owens did things like running against racehorses, working at gas stations. What was I supposed to do? Owens said later. I had 4 gold medals, but you can't eat 4 gold medals. He staged a series of post comebacks, some successful, some not. He eventually moved to Chicago and traveled the country as an inspirational speaker. He spent much of his spare time working with disadvantaged youth over the years. He wasn't untouched by controversy at times. He was called an Uncle Tom for refusing to take a more disruptive stance against racism. However, in the end, Owens is held in no less esteem than the fellow race pioneers like Jackie Robinson and Joe Louis. All took enormous strides against racism via defining moments that helped to encourage a change in the cultural landscape. Was Jesse Owens' family involved in the making of the race film? Yes. Jesse Owens' daughter, Marlene Owens Rankin, says that the family had final script approval and actually rejected certain scenes to make sure the film was accurate. We were involved from the very beginning, Marlene told TMZ. We had script approval by our request, and we were even on a location in Berlin for a little while. Our focus was to make sure history wasn't rewritten and that they stuck to the facts. She says that she understood that a bit of creative licensing was necessary. I take my hat off to her because, like I said earlier, a lot of times Hollywood does take liberties. So that was, hey, I'll take my hat off to you. Shout outs to you for making sure that, they got his life correct. Have any other feature length movies been made about Jesse Owens? No. Race is the first feature length film to be made about Jesse Owens. A TV miniseries titled The Jesse Owens Story aired in 1984. I had not seen that. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. So, overall, I'll say, I would say about 90, 96, maybe 97% of the movie was accurate. It was a good film. You know what I'm saying? It was a really good film. And if you haven't seen it, I suggest you check it out. It's on Netflix. So again, the movie's called Race, the Jesse Owens story. But that's pretty much it for this video. And I will once again like to appreciate you guys for listening to me ramble, listening to me stumble over my words because I was reading too damn fast. But again, I'm grateful for everybody who decided to follow me. You know what I'm saying? I know you can follow anybody else on YouTube, but you choose to add me to your list, and I am very grateful for that. So I will be back here next week for our next movie review. So stay tuned for that, and I will talk to y'all later. Oh yeah, before I forget, I gotta give this movie. I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10. You know what I'm saying? The acting was good. Everything was pretty much on point with this one. You know what I mean? But yeah, anyways, I'm out. Peace.